welcome all of you. We're so delighted that you took time in your day to come out this evening and be with us on this special topic. We've had 4 teenagers and we've experienced a lot, and we'd like to share a little bit about what we have learned in those years we've had together. I've been a teacher for 40 years, and I'll let my husband tell you about himself, but I am Edwina Neely, and this is my latest book, Children Are Gifts. And I want the parents to know that you are special, that they are special gifts given to you, and they are gifted. So we are to just study them and see what their gift is, and then lead them in that way. So some of the things that I'll be talking about are in this book tonight. So I'll let you know when we get to those. I'll say, get my book. Thank you. All right.
My name is Bill. I've had various careers along the way, but I wrote this book called The Gift of Criticism, and it's about how to make the most of critical interactions with your children, your teen, your significant others. The topic of bullying is one that I specialize in so that we disarm and defuse the bully and perhaps have a mutually beneficial outcome. Go ahead.
All right. So we welcome you tonight to Communicating with Teens. Now we'll share our screen. All right. Did I need to open it up first? Did I need to expand it?
You need this thing at the bottom.
Okay, it's working. Welcome to Communicating with Teens.
Needs to be big.
Needs to be bigger. Let's see.
No, you need to click on that button in the corner.
Where is it?
Just move these.
Okay, we'll move those pictures so we can get the bigger screen up better. That better? Everybody can see it?
Yep.
Great. Okay. The question was, do you feel like it's difficult to communicate with your teen? Are you wondering how to have a real conversation with your child without having that happen, right? So we're going to look at ways to communicate, how we communicate, just basic things, thinking about how do I communicate? We're going to look at some words to avoid so that our communication can be better, and strategies to help reduce problems. So our theme is careless words stab like a sword, but wise words bring healing. Let's think about that a minute.
Please be mindful that one of the tenets of communication is once it's said, you can't revoke it. You can't pull it back. You can't undo it. You can't erase it.
And once it's out there,
Once it's out there, it's out there.
sorry, won't erase it.
So we ought to practice how you communicate and do various settings where people don't know you're practicing, but just look at different ways you could have said what was said. We can get into some details.
So with careless words, have you ever heard someone say something to you and you felt like you had been stabbed? It hurt so bad.
If you have a physical sensation to the words or to the frown or to the grimace, a physical sensation in your body, well, the teens are the same way. If something is said to them, they have a physical sensation in their body. It either helps or it hurts. And it doesn't help to tell somebody they shouldn't feel the way they feel. You shouldn't let that bother you. Well, it bothers them.
It does.
Now, what are you going to do?
So these wise words will bring healing. What he just talked about are these careless words that will hurt. So what we want to do when we communicate is to have words that heal and not hurt.
Be intentional. Like opening a door, you have a specific key to unlock that lock. In communicating with your teens, each person is unique, and you need a vast dictionary of words to communicate with the teen. If you have more than one, or you need to be flexible, just like you would if you went to different houses. You have different keys. You don't use the same key at every house. Is that correct?
Okay. So let's take a closer look here. What does our teen need? We just talked about that. We need to hear words that heal. Everyone does. Every child, every adult, every human being. Now, your teen needs boundaries, but not locked doors. Bill can explain what that means.
This is philosophical and practical. So you may differ with me on this. The room that the children sleep in is not theirs. We say, go to your room. They're not paying rent. They're not paying the mortgage. So we look for different ways to indicate what that room is, because we didn't have locked doors. That's just us. Now, everybody's got their own way of operating. Be mindful that teens could be defiant, rude, disrespectful, and even disobedient. And sometimes their behavior is a test for us. You know what I'm saying? If they know where your hot button is, and you jump every time they push that hot button, then they can make you jump whenever they want you to jump. Do you know what I'm saying? So we can't stop them from pushing the button. What we can do is rewire our circuits so that when they push that button, it doesn't work. And there are some tactics and strategies you can do that.
Need parents who adapt to change in their behavior. We know our children change. They're not the same as they were when they were baby, when they were toddler, when they were child. Now they're teens. And we have to accept that behavior and accept that we may have a different relationship with them now because of who they are.
Their hormones are different.
Mm-hmm.
Their impulses are different. They're social, to say nothing of this, what they call social media,
Mm-hmm.
the influences. And my hope is that we're clear on what we want for the relationship. Quick question. What's more important, the relationship or the behavior?
The relationship.
Now, what do we tend, most everybody says that. What do we tend to put the more emphasis on, the relationship or the behavior?
Behavior.
Yeah.
What they do, right?
So we want to find ways to address the behavior that enhances the relationship.
And we're going to be talking about words we should avoid, but I want to put this in right here because accepting the change in behavior, we don't want to ask the question, what's wrong with you? That's a bad
That's
question.
a no-no.
That's a no.
What is your problem?
Yeah, throw it out.
There are many cultural and social things that are so commonplace that we think we should use them just because they're so common. It's not necessarily helpful for the family or the relationship. There are loads of them. We don't have time to go through.
Now this one needs acceptance of their personality difference. I experienced 4 children and everyone had a different personality, and my husband had a different personality from me. So I think my learning about temperament saved my relationship with my children and my husband. So I encourage you to get book. Florence Littauer is one book that you want to get. Her book is so exciting about personalities and temperaments. In my book, Children are Gifts, there's a chapter in there that I shared with you personally of things that I saw in my children and how I learned to respond to their differences. So understanding the personality difference is so important. And in your handout, I listed the weaknesses and the strengths of the team in looking at each 4 different temperaments. So be sure to study that and make sure that when you look at it, you can accept and say, well, why can't that one be like that one? Or why can't he be like this? Well, she doesn't do like this. They can't because they are not that person. Whatever that personality is, that's what they'll be. So check it out.
And there's something in the neuroscience these days called mirror neurons, that if you wanted to probe deeper into that, the brain and all that goes on there that reflects impressions that they receive from us and others, that helps drive their behavior. So the more we understand about these emotional needs, their hormones, and the things that science is revealing to us, makes us more flexible, more adaptable, and gives them opportunity to experience broader perspective of their life.
So later on, we're going to look at the reasons our teammate misbehave. They have a reason for it. Okay, so how do we communicate? There's a verbal communication and a nonverbal communication. Verbal is words, nonverbal, tone, body language.
Then body language.
You may not see that, but it's there.
Now, these 3 are divided percentage-wise: words, tone, and body language. This was from Dr. Albert Mehrabian at UCLA back in the 60s. One of them is 7%, one is 38%, and one is 55%. So these 3 elements of our communication, words, tone, and body language, which percentage goes with tone, which goes with body language, and which goes with words? Anybody want to take a stab at that?
Want to guess? How much you think words?
I'm thinking tone is 50%.
And
Okay, where would you put the others?
I can't remember what the 2 numbers were, but verbal is going to be that smallest number.
yep. And the tone next, right?
Exactly.
So that's the percentage. Verbal words is 7%, tone is 38%, body language is 55%. So we're going to do just a little thing between us, and I want you to observe the impact of the communication. Okay, everybody want to watch us for a minute here? Go ahead.
Honey, do you love me?
Yes, I love you. You keep asking me to. I told you on your birthday I loved you.
He said the words, right?
Do you believe that?
No.
Even though I said the right words, it's the manner in which I said them. So our children, you get under my skin, come ask me the same question over and over. Why? Then we are to, that's a clue to us to change the way we respond, so they will change the way they interact. That takes some practice. So if you want, this is a truism everywhere, in at work, at home, in the community. If you want somebody else to change, you have to change first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy. I'm continuing to do it.
Okay, honey, do you love me?
So if you want to get it better, you say, yes, dear.
Even if I just asked him a few minutes ago, right?
Even if you asked me a few minutes ago.
And children will do
if
that.
she kept asking me and I felt myself, because the mirror neurons are activating, getting irritated, that's a clue to me that I need to respond differently. So maybe I'll just hug, or maybe I'll go get a note. I love you, and give that to, I mean, be creative, because we have unlimited potential.
And we all need to hear those words. I love you. Every person in this world loves to hear those words. So we can't say them too much. We want them to know that we love them unconditionally. And that's so important. So the words that come out will determine how, how that is in their body.
And if you want them to believe that you love them unconditionally, they have to be convinced of that. It's not just you saying it. I love you without any reservation. It's not so much how you say it. It's not so much what you say, but how you say it.
Okay, we're ready to move on here? Okay.
We are ready.
All right. I have a question for you now. When your child comes to you and you start feeling like it's going to be a fight, we're going to give you some options, things you can think about first, rather than screaming out. Remember those hurtful words? We're going to look at something. First thing to do.
First thing to do is breathe. Now, I know this may sound basic and simple, and we distinguish breathing from sighing.
Yeah, sighing is not it.
The child comes and the same thing, and if you go, that's a no-no. Because that sends a message. What message does that send?
If you're exasperated or frustrated.
Exasperated, frustrated, annoyed, irritated. You didn't say that, you just went,
Yep, you said it the word non-verbally, correct?
and that message is conveyed. It's logged in their head, in their memory bank. So you want to breathe correctly, because there's an incorrect way to breathe. So you breathe from your diaphragm. The physiology is you inhale through your nostrils, the lungs expand, which pushes the diaphragm down and pushes the stomach out. So the correct way to breathe all the time is when you inhale. Some people need to practice and hold their hand on their belly. So when you inhale, make sure your hands go out. And when you exhale and relax, your hands drop back in.
So we're not doing that.
So some people
That's providing
say,
more stress.
they say, take a deep breath, and they
And they
go,
go,
that's more stress, because that's not, quote, natural. So if you take martial arts, chorus, ballet, yoga, one of the first things they teach you is how to breathe. So if you're expecting an interaction with your team, anticipate it in advance and practice breathing so that it's not that visible. Simply breathing correctly can alter the dynamics of the exchange, the interaction. And the way to get control of yourself is to first control your breath, your breathing. As a matter of fact, you could go to the mirror and look at yourself breathing and see if you believe you're relaxed.
and maybe something happened at school. You got a call from the principal. So you have to talk to this child when they get home. You may even want to go to a mirror and practice that. Really, I mean, it may seem silly, but okay, I know Johnny's coming home in a few minutes. What are we going to say? I want this conversation to come out good. I want it to be words that heal and not hurt. I don't want me to say anything. You don't want to say anything that you'll be sorry for. Once they're out there, Can't bring those words back.
Practice.
So breathe
I talk to groups and
instead of
individuals
screaming. Breathe.
about practicing breathing and they dismiss it. And those who are into athletics, I ask them, the teams spend more time practicing than they do playing the game. Is that correct? And these are professionals.
So as parents, we need to practice
So you
too.
need to practice controlling your emotions, your anxieties. And one way to do that everybody can participate in is by correct breathing. Now, another thing about breathing is when you're in the area with your team, observe how they're breathing and either match their breathing pattern or pace it.
You may not even know that, but they can do it.
You don't need to let them know you're doing that.
Yeah.
Just look at them, how their rise and fall of their chest. Matching it means you breathe at the same rhythm. If they're breathing a little faster than you're comfortable with, then you pace it. So 1 of my breaths to 3 of theirs. Just do that without much dialogue and notice what happens in the room. Most people ignore how other people are breathing because they want to get their point in and straighten you out. And let me tell you something, Buster. Well, now it's a battle. It's a conflict. What I'm saying is if we match or pace the breath, we have the opportunity to calm things down before the conversation even begins.
So with me, it helps you forget about yourself. Because at first, you're angry, you want to scream and holler at this child. You can forget about yourself. You're concentrating on what this child is experiencing, the breath that you have, and all of those can provide love and unity if we approach it the right way. So let's look at a few ways of responding. There are some better ways, and there are some that are not so good. There are 2 kinds of responses. There's the closed and open. Now, open response, let's see what it does. It acknowledges children's right to their feelings. Earlier, you remember Bill said, it's okay. Feelings are okay. They're neither right or wrong. So when our child says they feel a certain way, it's not our duty to tell them they shouldn't, because they do. So in accepting a child's right to have their feelings, leaves this response open by demonstrating that you, the listener, accepts what they feel as what they say and indicates that you understand. It's okay. I will allow them to have that feeling.
And give them some time to construct their words, what they're going to say. They may not come right out with it. They may breathe and pause and look around. Be patient and rather saying, come on, I got things to do now. If you've got things to do, you want to do this in another setting. But
And
if
tell
you,
them that you have
but
something to do.
tell them, a son, daughter, whatever it is, my time is a little short now. Can we do this at 7:30? Or if you take it on now, make sure you got time to listen. Because if they're going to share something, I call it the zipper. If you ask me to share how I feel about something, my zipper is here, and just look at I'm going to start to unzip what's bothering me so you can get a sense of it. And as I open up, if you react and say, oh my goodness, I knew it, then I'm going to zip up and I'm not going to do that no more. You follow what I'm saying? So we can scare them off, shut them down, and they're like, you okay? Now, please, that is one of the worst questions. Are you okay? Everything about the situation is not okay. And I see all kinds of people almost every day go in and say, are you okay?
No, my finger's cut off, or what?
The question is, how are you? And leave that open, because are you okay is asking for a closed-in response. please give yourself room to learn. Just take these lessons and employ them.
Okay, so what's the difference? Open one we talked about. Now let the closed response denies the child a right to their feelings by demonstrating listeners' unwillingness. See, our unwillingness to accept and understand.
I personally don't like the word understand.
Yeah.
I personally don't like it because I can't understand her. We've been married 52 years. I know some things about her. We have some insight and perception, but I don't quote understand because I don't have her feelings, her emotions, her background, her interpretations.
Right.
I was somewhere the other day and a person was in a difficult situation and somebody came in and said, I understand exactly how you feel. And I'm like,
No, you don't.
no, you don't. Now, if your teen comes home with a problem that matches something that happened in your teen years, hold off on saying, that happened to me and I know exactly how you feel, because no, things are different. Instead of saying, I understand how you feel, say, share with me how you feel, then wait. That's called weight training, WAIT, weight training, and breathing.
Okay, so let's look at a few examples here. The child. I'm really disappointed with Billy and the other children for not coming over to play with me. There's nothing to do. Now, the closed response, and this response happens in so many other ways too. Well, things don't always go the way we want them. That's part of life. You know, we say that statement could be used in so many wrong ways. That's part of life. Don't worry about it. But what am I going to do about it? It's part of my life. And so when you say that's part of life, what do? Close it.
It's dismissive.
Communication closed.
It's telling the child, go away, that you'll get over it, grow some thick skin or whatever. Now they feel worse because they've experienced their level of, quote, rejection or non-acceptance of who they are.
Now, an open response would be you're feeling left out. Is that right? Now, when we say that allows him to feel, maybe I don't feel left out, but they can correct us and say, no, I'm just mad because Johnny went up, and you get open and you get much more information. You know, you see?
And observe their
response is
behavior as they respond. Observe their behavior because their nonverbal is communicating to you information that they may not be aware they're conveying. Their breathing, their posture. There's so much information that's being presented that is missed because we just want to fix the problem and move on.
So recognizing the feeling, and see, we have this something called perception. You can check if that feeling you thought they had is correct or not. You would ask him, you feeling left out? Well, maybe he's not feeling left out. But when you say that, you allow them, when you say, is that right? To correct you, to say how they are feeling.
There's two dynamics at play. There's the facts, the FACTS, and the feelings. That's true in every situation. There's facts and there's feelings. And many times people operate on the feeling level. So be mindful of that.
Now, other ways, we know listening takes time. Remember that. Sometimes, we're tired, you just come in from work, but if we want to really communicate with our teen, with our children, with our spouse, it takes time. Let's look at this. Let's look at this picture. When you see the horse, let us know. Anybody see the horse? Tell us what you do see.
I thought it was a frog at first.
At first. So you
No.
so you see the
Now I
horse
see it.
also.
Yes. After you said there was a horse.
Okay. Did everybody see the horse?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
How
Now,
about now?
How about now? See?
yes.
You had to change the way you look at it in order to see something that was already there. You get the concept?
Mm-hmm.
Say it again for me.
You
Change.
have to change the way you looked at,
Yes.
because it's there now. It's on this picture, the horse's head is still there. It's just at a different angle and orientation. And I saw several of you move your heads, which is very good. Very good, because that means I'm looking for something beyond what's merely present.
So if my child says something, it's okay for me to go, to really allow myself to see it the way they see it.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes time.
One question to ask as the child says whatever they say, and you have to monitor when to say it, if you say it, is tell me more.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. But you say it in a compassionate way. You don't say, tell me more. You know, you get up in their face, tell me about it. That's not what we're talking about. Okay.
Who sees? Oh,
Does anything stand out before we ask the question?
I see a baby.
Oh, you see a
you
baby.
see the baby, okay?
So now I'm afraid to say what I see.
Tell us what
Tell
you
us what
see,
you
because
see.
we may have missed something.
Baby.
I thought I saw a woman and another person, but not quite.
Say again, you're breaking up.
A woman with a person standing beside her.
Yes,
Yep.
that's there.
That's there.
Okay.
And an infant, a baby.
Yes. the
There's a baby. If you back away, if you enlarge your view of the picture,
You see.
there's a baby there.
Yeah.
Would you like for us to point it out to you?
Everybody see the baby?
I think I did.
Yes, I saw it.
Okay.
Do we need to point it out to anyone? It's fine if you do.
Go ahead and point it out.
Okay, I'm going to take the cursor. Here's the baby's feet, the toes.
Oh
This
my
is-
God, there it is.
You see it now?
Yes. Oh my, oh,
This is the head over here.
yeah,
Eyes, nose, lips,
yeah.
chin.
That's amazing.
It's there all along. And many times in our relationships, in our conversation, there's things in the foreground or the background or present. And we're not looking at the whole picture. We're focused on, you did what? And now we missed out on some of the information that's there, verbally and non-verbally. That'll give us a better response options.
Okay. So we added this because we want to just stop and think a few minutes about how much time it might take for us to really key in on understanding. Well, Bill said not to use that word much, but
That's me.
trying to see it the way they see it.
I want to gain insight,
Information.
and insight.
Okay, so this is one thing or strategy we think is really powerful. It's called direct expression of feelings. So you use I instead of you. All right, I instead of you. Here's the example. A you message. You always throw your clothes on the floor. Now that might be true, but when you say you always, is that true? When somebody say you always, I doubt if it's ever true.
No.
Always.
No.
And then you. So you're pointing to the person, and you is an attack word.
You is regarded as the official attack pronoun, because it's usually said with some punch on it, you. And it's one of those terms that can hurt.
So our message would be, I am upset when I see clothes all over the floor after I've cleaned up? You can still have your tone that you're not happy about it. But rather than you always do that, it's going to open it or close the conversation. I message instead of you.
We call what we're presenting as the language of healing. That in our interactions, we'd rather heal than to hurt.
So here's some you messages that often, many times, I hear parents saying, "You're rude. You're mean. You're bad. You're disrespectful. You're naughty." These are you messages. So let's think about, I want you to practice a little bit. Here's someone. I want you to give an I message. The child was supposed to wash his hands. You know, we come to the table, before we eat, we wash our hands. And this is the you message. You call that clean? You should know better. That's a put down, right?
Mhm.
Okay, let's give an I message to it. What could you have said instead of you? Can someone give us an I message?
I would like you to please wash your hands before coming to the table.
But I did. I did wash my hands. Well,
What options do you have?
what are you gonna say?
I think, are you supposed to say the person's name?
No, you don't have to.
You don't have to. It depends on the tone in which you say it. Henry,
I would love. I would
I
love for
told
you
you how to
to.
wash your, I told you when you were 3 years old how to wash. Oh, God. That's not going to help.
Right.
So let's think about iMessage.
Hmm.
Someone said, yeah, we want them to wash their hands, right? That's what you want. So we're going to think about how you're going to say what you want without putting them down.
I would like you to try again.
Take the word try out. Do you want them to try or do you want them to do it?
See?
I would like you to wash your hands again.
Okay. I already washed them twice, Mom. That's all right. I don't want nothing for dinner. Forget it. I'll eat in the morning.
And then
How about I feel, it makes me feel better when your hands are washed, because then I know that everything's clean.
makes you feel better.
Okay, that's bordering. That's
We're getting there.
getting there.
Yeah, I feel better. You know, that's what you're saying. I feel better
I
because
feel better
right
if you
now they
wash
don't
your
look
hands.
clean. See, that's the thing.
What
You-
about something along the line of, I would like for you to do a better job so I don't have to worry about you getting sick?
It's a little bit too much.
Okay. Okay.
I hear you, but the more you give them, the more you get
Okay.
report. So I will do something like, come on, let's go in here and wash our hands together.
Okay.
I just take 30, 40 seconds,
Oh,
whatever it
Dad.
is.
And just
Come
come
on,
on,
let's go wash our hands together.
Okay.
Even if they're teenagers, because they're getting some attention.
Mhm.
And as we're washing hands, I would probably whisper and say, don't worry, I won't tell nobody. A sense of humor helps a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
when it's appropriate. Okay.
And see, beforehand, you know, like my daughter, when she knows, she says, I know if your hands are clean because I'll smell them, right? So you're like that. What do you think? You smell it. And her little 8-year-old said, okay, Mom, I'll wash them again. You know, so it's not saying you go wash them again. You know, he decides because he smells that they aren't clean.
As we get these principles and concepts and strategies, they apply for when the children start to date, when they start driving, when they start doing other things beyond the immediate household and family. So these are lifelong principles and concepts that can be used at work, in your committees, at groups. Okay.
Here's another one. You
It's a
always
quarter
make me
to.
late. What time is it?
Quarter to.
You always make me late. Now that's a you. I want you to practice this because, you know, the more we practice, the better we get. Give me an iMessage for that. What do you want
I
to
don't
have?
like. I don't like either one of us. When either one of us is late. So can we try to be on time?
Let's we
Okay.
leave that try out. So we're going to talk about that
We're
word.
going to talk about try and don't. So
You're
you're
leading to where we're going next.
so do it again without don't and without try.
I would like for us to be on time.
That's
Bing,
it.
bingo.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. I would like us to be
I'd
on
like for
time.
us to be on time. And if
And
they
just
need the
pause.
time, 7:45 or in 20 minutes, we're heading out the door to the car.
And rather than having to tell them what you want them to do. So you're saying what you want, and that lets them know. That'll make you happy if that's what
And
happens.
we're talking about teens here, so
Mhm. All right, so this is you message, I message. Practice those. We're going to move a little bit now to what I mentioned earlier about children have a reason for behaving. We have 15 minutes, and I want to share with you this book called The Parent's Handbook. Don Dinkmeyer and Gary McKay. If you can get this book, I have it on your handout. This will be revolutionary for you. So he says that what makes a child misbehave? They have a goal. The child has a reason for doing this. So let's look at attention. The attention, they want attention, they're saying, only if I can be noticed, can I feel okay? They want power, only if I can be the boss, can I feel okay? Revenge, only if I can hurt others, can I feel okay? And display of inadequacy, we hope we never get to that one. Only if I can convince of my inadequacies, can I avoid experiencing failure and feeling of inferiority. So these are the 4 principles that he presents, saying, this is why children misbehave. And now an interesting thing, what he did was, he says, we can get a clue for accessing these goals, finding out, is it attention, is it power, is it revenge, or is it hopeless? These are clues that the parents can look at themselves. If the parent is feeling irritated or slightly annoyed, see, we want to have a tendency to remind and coax, and that's attention. If the parent feels angry, defensive, or challenged, and you want to fight, you're really angry with this child. It's power play. You want control. Hurt, tendency to retaliate and get even, revenge. If you're feeling that way, this child is probably getting, that's what he wants, revenge. And then the last one, hopeless, tendency to agree with the child that nothing can be done. So Bill, that one is the one we don't want to get to.
well, yeah, so keep in mind the mirror neurons, if you want to look that up, because these are things that are reflected and radiated. By the way, the Dinkmeyer and all that, as they talk about the children, the adults display these same behaviors.
Yeah.
So the children learn from us being the world around them.
And attention equals love. We talked about love in the beginning. You don't feel too loved if no one pays attention to you. You don't. And the child doesn't either. So sometimes children misbehave. This teen gets in and gets mad and makes you angry to get attention. All right, so what I want to do, we have a few minutes. I'm a person that likes really to get into the real situation. So we're going to look at the difference between punishment and logical consequences. So we know the child's going to do this. We're understanding their behavior now. They're wanting attention or revenge or whatever it is. So instead of punishment, we want to have a logical consequence for this behavior. So you have this in your handout. So you may want to just study these. Now, punishment, what does it do? It expresses the power of personal authority. I'm the parent. And I tell you what to do and you don't talk back. The second one, arbitrary or barely related. You're giving them a punishment that doesn't even relate to what the situation is. Next one is personalized and implies moral, call them something, give them a name. Concerned with past behavior. This is all in punishment. That's what you do. Threaten the offender with disrespect, loss of love, demands obedience. Now, instead of using these principles of punishment, let's look at what logical consequence does. There's a mutual right and mutual respect rather than what? Power and personal authority. It's related to the misbehavior rather than logical to the situation. Impersonal implies no moral judgment. This is a logical consequence. The child does something, he says, what can I do to punish him? No, we don't want to punish them. We want to teach them so that they will have self-control and make the right decision. So, concerned with present and future. Present, what just happened, and not what happened last week. We go back, well, last week you did so and so. No, let's stick with what's happening today. And then parents' voice should be friendly, implies goodwill, and permit choice. All right, now, so what I want to do is give you some actual situations. I want you to really think. I want you to respond to me now. All right, so this is a situation where, an actual situation, the example is showing the difference between logical and punishment, logical consequence and punishment. So the first one expresses the power of personal authority. All right. The situation is the father says this, Jim, turn off that TV. Mom and I are trying to sleep. So he gets up, screams at the child and says that, expressing power and authority, right? Okay. Now let's look at mutual rights and mutual respect. How would you respond? The father says, Jim, I realize it's Saturday morning and you enjoy your cartoons, but mom and I are trying to sleep. So either you turn the TV off, you turn it down, or you play that downstairs, and you decide what you'd rather do. So it's giving the child a choice. We want them to think, right? It's giving them a choice, and there's a mutual right and a mutual respect. Do we see the difference in expressing the power? All right, let's look at another one.
We know you have the power. We're not threatening your power. We're just making it better relationships in the family.
All right, let's go back to punishment. Arbitrary and barely related to the logic of the situation. Okay, the mother. Susan, I told you 1,000 times to keep your room straightened up. I cannot vacuum the carpet with all this mess on the floor. So you can forget about going to the movie Saturday night. Do you see it? Arbitrary. Does it relate to the situation at all? Okay. Relate to the misbehavior. Look at this one. The mother says, Susan, I'm going to vacuum the carpets today. I cannot vacuum in your room if there are toys and clothes and everything laying on the floor. So I will place them in a bag and put them in the basement if you didn't decide not to pick them up. That's related to the behavior, and the child has to make a decision of what they want to happen to their stuff on the floor, right? How do you feel about this? Is this making sense?
It is.
Yes, it is.
So as we get close to wrapping up, pick one thing, and you'll have an outline, a handout. Pick one thing to work on and give it a couple of weeks. Otherwise, you may become overwhelmed and frustrated and throw it away. So pick one thing, give yourself some time to work this in because it'll feel a little awkward. Can everybody do this for me for a minute, please? Just cross your arms.
You can't see it.
Cross your arms across your chest. Just fold your hand. Okay, you got that? Now do it the other way. How does that feel?
Pretty much the same.
Is it
Pretty much
awkward?
the same.
Anybody felt awkward like me?
So
Yes,
we,
awkward.
so we do this little exercise just to say that doing something different will likely feel different and uncomfortable until you do it often enough. Then you develop more options about how you can interact and live your life on a broad scale. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
We got about,
So, yeah. You want one more example?
Yeah, about
You looking
7
at
minutes.
the difference in punishment and logical consequences. Let's go one here. Here's one that is punishment is concerned with the past behavior. Ralph made an agreement to be home at 5 o'clock, but he did not arrive until 6. So here's mother. Ralph, it's 6 o'clock. You are always late. That's that you message in there. How many times have we gone through this? You never seem to care. You come home just late. You've done this for a week now, and you just forget about that bike we just bought. We just talked about. You can just forget about getting that bike. Right? Threaten, right? Is it? See, they don't. What you're saying doesn't go logically with what you want them to learn from this experience. You see? Okay. So the next time, this is what happens. This is concerned with present and future behavior. The mother says, I'm sorry. No, he comes in, he wants to, wait, let's go back to that one. Okay. She says, I'm sorry, but you are not ready to take responsibility for coming home on time. We'll look at it again tomorrow.
Okay.
So he has to think about, what do I need to do to show mom that I am responsible? It's so many. So be sure to go in the book. He gives some awesome examples that you can relate to and say, oh, I shouldn't have said it that way. But the main thing, what I want you to understand here is that in a logical consequence, we're teaching the child to make a decision. We're making them discipline them so that they can make good decisions, make good choices, and not be punished for doing something wrong. Is that a different?
Yeah.
about to done.
Okay, now we're gonna go over these words right quick because we have been talking about, we shouldn't be saying don't and try. Bill, let's go over these.
All right, so everybody, would you listen carefully to me? All right. Don't think of the Washington Monument.
What did they just do?
You
Who
think
thought-
of it.
Who thought of the Washington Monument? Okay, let me do this. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not think of that monument down on the mall. Did it get just a little bit bigger and brighter?
Did you think
Yeah.
of it?
Yes,
No,
Okay, negatives only get reinforced
right.
because the brain either cannot, or has great difficulty processing negatives, because when it knows what it is, how can it not think of it?
So they don't come home
So
late.
don't come
Whoa.
home late.
They come home late.
In my economy says you set them up to be late, and now you're going to punish them, and they're confused. Don't look at me that way. Don't hit your brother. Don't slam the door. It puts the image, working with people who need help ambulating, walking,
Mhm.
and you say, now, don't fall. You just put the idea of falling in their mind. So rather than saying that, you say, hold firmly onto me, I got you, take a step at a time.
Mhm.
Say what you want rather than what you don't want. You tell a child, don't run,
That's what
they're
they do.
likely to run.
Mhm.
And then you're going to punish them for being disobedient.
Don't talk to me like that. That's what happened.
So we teach in communication, never ask the interrogative why. You never want to ask someone why. Let's see, who can I? What's your name? Is it Kelly?
Uh,
I just wanted somebody to
Jessica.
illustrate.
Oh, what is Jessica?
What's her name?
Oh, I don't know. HFSA, what is that?
Oh, I'm sorry, Sharon. Sharon is my
Sharon.
name.
Okay, Sharon,
Sharon,
can we use you?
you? Can I ask you
Yes,
something?
sure.
I'm gonna do this the wrong way.
Do the wrong way.
Why did you wear that top that you have on?
Okay, well, first it puts me on defense
Already, she said it.
because I'm thinking, is there a problem with my shirt? You know,
All right, so let me ask another question. Is it Sharon?
yes.
Tell me something about your shirt.
Oh, okay. It's a black t-shirt. It has a drawstring at the bottom, and I like it.
Was there a difference in the feeling between me asking you, why did you wear it? And tell me something about it?
Yep, sure did.
I'm assuming that others on the call may have had a similar response. So why is a question of judgment that puts the other person on the defensive?
So we asked our team, why did you do that? Then
Mhm.
that's going to put them on defensive.
So tell me about what happened.
Tell me.
Breathe, calm yourself, pace or match their breath, and be patient.
Okay.
The same is true at work. The same is true in your clubs and committee meetings and frats. And why is a question of judgment. So the next one, try. Everybody, if you would, just a moment, try to raise your left hand.
No,
I want you to try. Try really hard to raise your, try.
I don't get it.
You're doing it. You're not trying.
Okay.
Try is a question of non-commit, is a statement of non-commitment.
Now
Right.
watch it. When somebody said, oh yeah, you ask them, invite them to a party or whatever. I'm gonna try to be there. They're not gonna be there.
They're not coming, but it's a politically,
If
socially
you tell your
correct thing.
child, try to be on time, they're not gonna be on time.
Try to be nice to your
Try to
brother.
be nice. I tried to be
I
nice.
try to
Mom,
be
but-
nice, Mom.
Yeah.
We use a lot of words that set us and other people up, and then we get confused and just overreact to show a power play. But is a disjunctive conjunction. I call it the eraser. When you go somewhere and you have a good time, and then you say everything was just lovely, but the dessert, man, left something to be desired. The emphasis is on after the
But
after the but, and the compliment just got erased.
Mhm.
report card.
So these are some things to avoid. There's plenty of others. You like to make sure you get these. And so
And try the report card. Okay, your team comes home and or you see it on the computer, you know what's going on. Yeah, oh, this looks good, but so instead of saying that, Bill, you're
instead
saying
of saying but, you say, Maya, I see these grades here. Now, how about this one? Tell me about this one.
Okay.
Rather than saying these are really good, but you just erased the compliment with the good grades and they're left with the aftertaste of the but. No pun intended there.
okay, all right. So we want you to remember that you're the most important person in your child's life.
Even if you don't believe it at the moment.
Embrace your responsibility and enjoy the journey. Now you see that lock there? You have the key.